Well, guys, it's been a dark day and a dark night for your New Jersey Devils. I am officially throwing my hands up, and I have not I don't have many words. Honestly, it's completely a travesty what this franchise has become. As most of you know, I've been a longtime fan, 30 years, lived through the glory days of Lou Lamoriello, and this team outside of this beautiful crest on the jersey, not a damn thing about this team currently remotely resembles anything from the glory days. We have fallen so far. It's not even remotely the same thing. An ugly day of inactivity after talking a bunch of bullshit to the media is normal. Wow. Let me get a drink of water first. I'm just furious. I'm just beaten. Oh, welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And the New Jersey Devils with a gutless, lifeless performance to the surprise of nobody, fall by a score of 6-1 to the Winnipeg Jets, and essentially, I believe, is the official end of the season. When you look at this thing as a whole, the train wreck that was this season, that gutting, devastating loss with 4.8 seconds left in Dallas was kind of the headshot, if you will. That was like the headshot to the Devils. They were down. They were on life support. And today in free agency, after, puffing out his chest and claiming that there's still buyers, this, that, and the other thing, all sorts of media reporting that Fitzgerald was still a buyer and nothing changed with the Jack Hughes injury. After all of that smack talk, he goes out and does exactly what many of you feared. I honestly thought it would be slightly more than what he did. I'm going to say, for all intents and purposes, let's be real, Cody Glass and oh wait, we got a late edition, one that came in across the wire like 2 hours later. Daniel Sprong, a guy that's been in the AHL since December. Those are your two ads. Sorry, bro. You cannot insult this fan base anymore. This organization thinks that the fans are clueless. Absolutely clueless. I'm not saying we had to go get Rantanen or we had to go get, superstar players. I'm not unrealistic. But you had to get something. And I use the term meaningful contributions. For the week leading up to free agency, many of you were like, Fitz isn't going to do anything. And honestly, I really didn't. I have to say, I was wrong. I didn't see this level of ineptitude coming on deadline day. I really didn't. I thought at a minimum, we were going to get, at least like one or two legitimate players. And we did not. After all of the talking of we're buyers, this, that, and the other thing, we get Cody Glass and Sprong. All of you that were waiting to carve up Fitzy proved to be right. Your fears and your predictions came true. So props to all of you that said he's not going to do anything. He didn't do a damn thing. And it's a shame. It's a real shame. With $13 million heading into the day in LTIR money, a lot of people were speculating that the retention on the Dumoulin deal was a sign of things to come, that we were going to use all this LTIR money and there was going to be these big splashes. And in the end, what I predicted last night was correct. Not only was that not an indicator of anything to come, we overpaid for Dumoulin for Anaheim to retain on him. We essentially sold assets on the low to save money for the ownership group. We literally just to save money. It's disgusting. It's deplorable. I'm stunned. A lot of people said I was a conspiracy theorist after last year when I said this kind of same thing, that the owners don't care about winning. We didn't use a damn thing of Dougie's LTIR money. That was a very big red flag, in my opinion. I said, okay, maybe there was some extenuating circumstances. Maybe I am a little crazy. Maybe I am looking into it a little too much. But I really didn't think I was. I mean, any competent GM and ownership group that prioritized winning, if you have $9 million in LTIR money, you are going to find a way to spend it. The Devils did not. Now we come to this year, again, with even more LTIR money to spend, with Jack and Dougie down. The day before free agency closes, we make Anaheim retain on a deal in a cost-cutting maneuver. I mean, what are we talking about? And so, again, the Dallas game, that gutting loss at the end, I believe, was the headshot to this team. The 24-25 Devils took a bullet to the head. They were down. They were on life support. Fitzy needed to do some meaningful work today at the trade deadline, and instead, he walked over to the life support machine, and he pulled that plug right out. He said, nah, pulled the plug out. The team came out tonight. They looked lifeless. They looked like any ounce of life that they had left was sucked out of them. And we lose a 6-1 game, and the season is over. The season is so over. Poor Jacob Markstrom. My heart goes out to Markey and Brendan Dillon, two vets, two NHL vets, two throwback guys. I've talked to both of them. Very nice guys. They wanted to come here. They thought they had a chance to win. They bought the bill of goods that Fitz was selling, and they were duped. Those poor men were duped in the twilight of their careers with not much time left in the NHL. Thought they had a chance to chase a Stanley Cup in New Jersey, and this organization that they came to is a complete disaster. A complete train wreck. The Tom Fitzgerald press conference, deplorable. Absolutely deplorable for anyone defending this man. And again, I hate to just, to keep harping on it, but this is ineptitude at its highest level. At its highest level. What are you doing? You just watched a team that was in a playoff spot so desperate, and we got a super Taylor. Thank you. Nobody cares about LTIR money, bro. We have no assets to trade. Taylor, sit down. You're incorrect. We had assets to trade. What happened today? There was no excuse. I wasn't saying to go out and get superstars. There was no reason we couldn't get any meaningful players. We had assets. We had 3 second rounds, technically, one tied up with the Jake Allen deal. We could have traded 2 of them. We used one in the Dumoulin deal, then had them retain to save money. Have a first-round pick next year. We have prospects. We have Nemitz. We have Casey. We have Mercer. What happened today? Absolutely inexcusable. And for anyone defending it, shame on you. You're part of the problem. You are absolutely part of the problem. There was no excuse for what happened today. Absolutely none. And any fans with a semblance of common sense or understanding of the game are seeing this situation for exactly what it is. It's a combination of a GM that is in over his head. Tom Fitzgerald is an absolutely awful general manager, despite having a good offseason, and I'll give him that. He had a good offseason with the free agent signings. His in-season inactivity, where he sits and looks around twiddling his thumbs, atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. There was tons of guys available. Oh, everyone wanted Zetterlund back, right? Let me just, if we want to talk about, actual things, Marchand went for a second-round pick to Florida. That would have been a guy I think that could have helped his team. Everyone wanted Zetterlund back. He got dealt for a second and a player. There was tons of moves to be made. Guys that were dealt, guys that weren't dealt. Either way, there was no shortage of guys to get. And so for the people that are, regurgitating this nonsense about we have no assets, I didn't believe, I said we were short on assets in terms of maxing out the LTIR money, but I wasn't asking for that. Just get a couple legitimate roster players to help the team. That's not asking for a lot or being unreasonable by any stretch of the imagination. Tons of teams around the league improved with no issue. And then the people are like, oh, it's so hard to make trades. This, that, and the other thing. Like, no, it's not. It's not as difficult as they try to make it seem. Look around the league. Teams are doing it regularly. And so I'm not buying any excuses. This was deplorable. The team was on life support after that Sorry about that. Temporary outage. There's no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse. And so for anyone that's, regurgitating this, shame on you. You've been fooled. I will not be fooled. I know a lot of you here see through it. Lots of guys were moved. There was lots of guys that were being rumored to be moved that weren't. But either way, there was no shortage of guys that could have been obtained. We did nothing. Here's Cody Glass and Daniel Sprong. And we're supposed to be like, thank you, sir. I mean, what are we talking about? This is just absolutely tragic. And I'm absolutely heartbroken. The season is done. They're not going to make the playoffs. Even if they do, they're going to get swept. This team is lifeless. Furthermore, if you want to get real conspiratorial, I wouldn't be surprised if they're hoping we fall out and get a top 10 pick again so that Calgary won't get it. Let's get real crazy. I wouldn't put anything past them at this point. Dimitri, fire the GM, unacceptable. It is completely unacceptable. I think, though, the ownership also has blood on their hands in this situation. I don't know, either way, they all need to go. It's not going to happen, and I don't think we're going to see any change. Oh, win or lose, we booze, guys. Win or lose, we booze. I'm going with Marty's vodka again, Dirty Devil vodka. I don't even want to drink. I'm just going to take a quick bottle shot to numb the pain. Win or booze, win or booze. Win or lose, we booze. I totally forgot. I'm just so down and out. Dire Straits says Nemitz is now untradeable, maybe, but at this point, it doesn't even matter. Like, who even cares? Like that. What a difference, 24 hours makes. I was somewhat hopeful last night. After the way today went and then tonight went, it's a complete wrap. This franchise is in complete disarray, complete dysfunction. Dino 5, Sal and Dano unlistenable. Oh God, after the game, it was pretty gross. They were talking about Glass and Sprong as if these are real players that are going to come in and make a difference. I mean, come on, man. Terrible. Mark, not only is Fitz destroying this team's present, he is destroying the team's future. No unrestricted free agent is going to want to come here. Absolutely not. This team is a disaster. Retlaw APA, when is Sheldon Keefe going to start calling players out by name? I feel bad for him, honestly. The poor guy got sold a bill of goods as well, just like some of the unrestricted free agents that Fitz signed in the summer. He came here and he's like, what did I get myself into? He's had a flawed roster all season long. Fitz kept his hands in his pockets, looked around, did nothing. And then at the last minute, the last day when he had a chance to do something, he did nothing. That's it. Sorry, Sheldon, you're on your own. Marchand went for a second, man. Come on, yeah. Brandon, out of all the teams HBSE own, the Devils are the lowest priority and likely bringing the least amount of money. Yeah, the Sturm trade was traded for a fourth rounder. People wanted blood for that. Harms, the entire fan base knew we needed a scoring winger before the season started. Fitz did nothing to address it for months. He needs to go. His press conference was deplorable. Absolutely deplorable. How do you go out there? How do you go out there and say that you came in second place on some guys? Can you guys imagine Lou Lamoriello ever doing a press conference like that? And going out there and being like, well, we tried. We came in second place and we don't have assets. I have to watch it again because they kept pushing it. I was actually at the game. Shout out to my buddy Rick for inviting me to the game. Some of you saw me on TV. We were behind the Jets. The Jets bench. Shout out to my man Rick. We still had a good time despite the Devils sucking. And shout out to my man Brian, who we met up with at the game as well. But what a tragedy. What an absolute tragedy this was. It was just a fitting end to a ridiculous day. But yeah, I was in one of the lounges when I first got to the game, listening and watching the Fitz press conference. It was obviously very brief. No one seemed to really hold him to the fire per usual. And it was a travesty. It was an absolute travesty. Go Borough. Frederick went for pennies. Tanev went for petties. We could have even offered a little nicer. Absolute garbage. Stanislav, I've been saying this for years. The owners suck. Mark. Nemitz trade value continues to go down every time he hits the ice. Yeah, I mean, he's been. Listen, I think he could be a great player one day. He's the least. He's just the least of so many issues with this franchise. He's not even a top 5 issue at the moment. I do think, that wasn't a great pick at number 2, but either way, I do think he could be a great player one day. But there's just been misstep by misstep by misstep. by upper management, and we're paying the price now. And then to just give up on the final day of free agency and just throw your hands up and feed this team to the wolves is disgusting. Thanks for the super chat, Joe Cade, for Lindy's canonization. I'm not going to say that this doesn't vindicate Lindy by any stretch. I do think, and I said this last year, I did think it was time for Lindy to go. I wasn't blaming him entirely for the tragedy that was last season. I did think he kind of got a raw deal as well, but I did think it was time for the team to move on from Lindy. But the biggest problems are from above. We have a general manager that has no idea what he's doing. We have an ownership group that only cares about making money, and it's a very dark time to be a Devils fan. This franchise does not remotely resemble, again, outside of this beautiful crest, one of the most beautiful logos, if not the most beautiful logo in all of sports. Outside of this logo and this crest, nothing else about this team is remotely the same. We don't play in the building that had the magic. We don't have the legendary figures up and down the organization that we had back then, whether it was the legendary coaches and Jacques Lemaire, Larry Robinson, Lou Lamoriello as the architect and GM of the whole team. We have nothing, and I'm gutted. We're a complete disaster. Our star player, the franchise player, out for the season for the second year in a row with season-ending shoulder surgery rather, and it's a disaster. It's a complete disaster, and there's no light at the end of the tunnel, honestly. I've never been this down on the team in quite some time, and it's super unfortunate. Retlaw, it shows the GM and ownership didn't even try for real players. Of course they didn't. Alex Russo, watching Fitz in the interview, you guys were spot on with the excuses. Yeah, people were saying it all day. We knew, talk about the injuries, and it takes two to tango. It was almost scripted verbatim in the live stream before we realized that, in fact, our worst fears came true and he did nothing. Everyone was typing all this stuff. It wasn't that unpredictable for the people that are paying attention. And we have a lot of Clueless fans in this chat, but we also have a lot of very knowledgeable fans. And the script was written. I almost have the exact script in my phone from Steve the Maniac, who's also on Suicide Watch with myself. Shout out to Steve the Maniac. He almost had the script exactly as well. I have it in my phone. We were talking about it. We already knew. The playbook was there. And this is what it is, just excuse after excuse. And the organization needs a shakeup. Unfortunately, I just don't see when or how it would come. Stanley Sal has become intolerable. I understand he has to speak with these players directly, but come on, bro, have some respect for your audience. There's no respect for the audience or the clients. And it's unfortunate. The fans are the clients. We are the customer. We are the ones that pay the money. And I will tell you without a doubt, I personally will not be paying a damn cent for a very long time on anything related to this team. I am done. Personally, I just cannot, in good faith and good consciousness, spend money on a product for a team that repeatedly pees on our head and tells us it's raining. I know the difference between urine and rain. This is urine. You're lying. You are just constantly the sideways talk and the nonsense. I'm not buying it anymore. I'm not fooled. I know a lot of you are not. A lot of you are, and that's fair. If you want to eat up the excuses and the nonsense, then eat it up, baby. Ignorance is bliss, but I will not bite my tongue. I will say how I really feel, and I've said nothing but truths for the past day and a half now. This organization is a disaster, period. Nothing they're doing makes sense whatsoever. Furthermore, like I said, this I can't say for sure, but if you want to get again into conspiracy theories, I wouldn't be surprised if they want to tank the season and get another top 10 pick, because that pick for this season that we traded to Calgary is top 10 protected. If we end up with a top 10 pick, oh my God, we struck gold again. It's the Harris Blitzer Sports Entertainment model. Tank for picks and hope you're good with guys on entry-level contracts. That is the playbook. They got lucky with the Commanders. The quarterback kid is very good. Brought them pretty far this year. But it doesn't work in hockey. Two players isn't going to move the needle dramatically. You could have two number one overall picks like we have in Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes, and you could still be a terrible team. And that turned out to be the case for quite some time now. One playoff berth with Jack and Nico. Dire Straits, a trade should have been made in January. I fully agree. I hit the panic button. I put that video out, I think January 20th. That was plenty of time to build up more of a cushion. But they did not. The cushion evaporated. And it was too late. They decided once again to get in the punt formation, punt on the season, and it's unacceptable. I literally am disgusted. And there's nothing we could do now, guys. This is the franchise we chose. We're just here watching the car crash on the daily. Dire Straits booze face sat on his hands. Captain Mufungo, the owners love Fitz. They will not cut him loose. It's a complete clown show. Yeah. Blackatron, I would have loved Zetterlund back. I know a lot of you would have. And there was, again, why we had those assets. We couldn't offer a second and a player, whatever, to get him. We couldn't get Marchand. It all comes down to money, guys. They did not want to spend any money in combination with Fitz just being clueless. It's a terrible combo. It's a terrible combination. Sammy says Nemitz is a bust. I'm not going to say that quite yet. But again, that's the least of our problems at the moment, right? I mean, Shimo Nemitz, the development of Nemitz is not even in the top 5 issues at the moment. I mean, yeah, you could talk about it, but what is the point? I mean, it's not even... Blackatron, thank you, sir, for the super. I haven't watched the presser yet. I don't know if I even want to. It sounds like absolute rage fuel. Blackatron, you must watch it. It's not optional. It's absolutely mandatory viewing so that you could really get a grasp on what I'm talking about. Because when you watch it, it's just, I wanted to spike my phone on the ground in the arena. When I was watching it, I was so filled with rage. Hunched over a table in the lounge watching this, to just listen to the excuses after excuse. This man is burning years of men's careers at the highest level. This is the show, the NHL. These guys are trying to win a cup, burning precious years of a core, and even more damning, burning the twilight years of guys' careers like Brendan Dillon and Jacob Markstrom. Markstrom deserved way more on the season. He deserved way more tonight. And I honestly wish that they traded him to Edmonton for his sake. I love Markey. He doesn't deserve this. He is on a sinking ship, and he got hit with the bait and switch. He was sold a bill of goods, which wasn't true. He thought he was going to come here, have a chance to win a cup. Couldn't have been further from the truth. For his sake, this team is going nowhere. I hope they honestly trade him to a contender that needs a goalie in the summer for Markstrom's sake. I would love to see Markstrom hoist the cup somewhere else, as long as it's not, the Rangers or something. It's not going to be the Rangers because they have Shesterkin, and I'm trying to think. I wouldn't want him to go to the Flyers, a couple other teams. But outside of that, Canes would make me sick. But outside of hated rivals, ship him to back to the West Coast and let him really get a chance to compete for the cup, because it's never happening here. I feel terrible for the guy. Four Devil, the collective forfeit for 2025 is almost unheard of by any team. 37 games in. All right, I'm going to head out. It's crazy, guys. Ariel, lots of players out there. We could have had 2 solid players easily, for sure. There's absolutely no excuse. Dire Straits auto improved. You know why? Because their ownership really wants to win. They want their captain, Brady Tkachuk, to be happy there, despite all the fans booing the American national anthem before the games. But they want to win. They want to keep Brady happy, and they want their fans to be happy. They're trying. All they could do is try. Go Boro. Heck, even if the owners didn't want to spend, we could have still made damn trades. It's just sheer incompetency, bordering on malice. It's crazy, guys. It's just absolutely, if you really love this team like I do, it's really just disgusting and disheartening. Mark, I got banned from another Devil site for flaming Fitz after the Nemitz pick and signing Palat. Well, the Nemitz pick, it's too early to call it like a horrible pick, but it's at this juncture, it's very obvious that Logan Cooley or Shane Wright would have been better picks for the Devils at number 2, and the Palat contract was terrible. So, shame on that other site for banning you, I suppose, Mark. You were right about those 2 things for sure. Alexander the Greg, also, this team isn't making the playoffs. I've seen Pee-wees with more heart in their game. It's really hard to watch. And a lot of that had to do with what Fitzgerald, I guess it's not what he did do today. It's actually what Fitz didn't do today. You don't think that the players feel that coming off of that absolutely gut-wrenching loss in Dallas with 4.8 seconds left? I mean, let's be realistic. It's terrible. And we could have still have gotten Ron O'Reilly, Shen, Kairu, and others, not all of them, but even one of them, and no one. And no, when he came in second on a top 6 forward, Booze Face gave up. I do think, I think there was reports that like they wanted Nemitz in a deal for Shen. Like that is lunacy. I wouldn't have given up Nemitz in a deal for Shen, but I refuse to believe. Again, we saw some trades: Zetterlund for a second and a player, Marchand for a second. Like those trades easily could have been the Devils. So why weren't you in on those? And then crying the Blues that you came in second. Like it's terrible, man. Yeah, and all the reports that NJ is buying Alex, right? Buying what? What did you buy? The New York nobody. Fitz has been watching the same team as y'all since Christmas. He's not a believer in his own team. Yeah, and that's the message he sent to the locker room. Without Jack Hughes, we don't believe in this team. Apparently, they think it's the New Jersey Jack Hughes. Collect records. Fitz admitted to putting all his eggs in one basket, assuming it was Marchand, and that alone shows he's too dumb to be a GM. He's known for 3 months we needed scoring, and he did nothing. Fire him. We could only dream. We could only dream. Ace, that was like the Sopranos ending. Did you get whacked? Did you guys hear the "Don't Stop" Black? No, I just hit the thing. I'm surprised I didn't all day, but somehow I just hit it now, but we're back. Stanley, and can we please stop with the no assets to trade BS as if that handcuffed Booze Face? He's responsible for that. Absolutely. Jay Snow, they kept talking up Sprong before the game. Isn't it crazy? Like we know what the guy is. You're not going to sell us that he's going to be some transformational player. Just stop it. This is one of the paths I laid out, which was a half-ass effort to make it look like you're doing something. And that's the path they chose today. It's super unfortunate. B, I don't think other GMs respect this man. I don't think the players respect this man. Who cares about other GMs? It's unbelievable. Hold on. I'm trying to get Steve the Maniac to write a statement to read. Steve the Maniac is such a loser. I'm trying to get him to come on. He's so checked out and burned out. He doesn't even want to talk about this team anymore. He's checked out. He's like, I'm full boycott. He's like, I'll check scores and that's it. I'll still watch the games, but in terms of spending a dime on this, absolutely not. Those days are over. Just like I had a self-imposed ban before we got a real goalie when I was watching VTech give up a 5 spot every night when we were drowning because of goaltending. I told everybody I'm a self-imposed banning myself from the Rock until we get a goalie, and I stood by that. Except for the one game I'd already planned to go to, which was the second Stadium Series game. But outside of that, my ban stayed intact. Samuel, you can't tell me you couldn't pick up a middle six player with the money and assets we had. Well, we definitely could. Oh, man. Is it always like this in here in terms of what? I don't know what you mean, Eric G, but today was one of the darkest days in franchise history, in my opinion. For the second straight season, we're punting on a season. And this time it's worse because we're actually in a playoff spot when it happened. Last year, we were looking to climb into the playoff race. This year, we started off in the playoffs and just punted. The punt formation came out. David Chimes, thank you for the super, sir. Inexcusable to not get a credible top 6 center. Yeah, I'll be honest. I won't even say top 6 center. I'll say even a third line center. I'll knock it down a peg from that. Inexcusable to not get at least a third line center. Yeah, there it is, Ace. Win or lose, we booze. Jeter Toker, I need a booze cruise on the Andrew Brunette Golf Cart Express. That was a pretty funny story that had come out when that happened. For Devil, need all Devils fans to collect a petition. Send it to ownership. Your boy Fitz needs to go ASAP. Do you think that's going to matter? They don't care. When I was on the roof, I was yelling at Harris, the owner. I saw him going up the stairs to get on his helicopter. I yelled at him, sell the team, from the rooftop of the parking deck. His helicopter was on the roof of the Rock, and I was yelling at them, sell the team. They probably didn't hear me. Maybe they did. I don't know. Mark Costanza, in the real world, if anyone did as bad as Fitz has been at his job, they would have been fired. Oh, are you kidding me? If anyone in the real world, if anyone was half as bad as Fitz at their job, they would have been fired last year at the latest. There wouldn't have been another year. There wouldn't have been this year. And there can't be next year. But I think, unfortunately, we're going to see it. Stick a fork in this team, absolutely. B, if there's anything we could count on, it's going to be we're going to plummet to bottom 10 status. I won't be shocked. They want another back 10, another top 10 pick. Eric G, luckily for me, I just found this channel. I don't know how all the Ranger fans do find this channel. It's very interesting. Ariel, this franchise is a disgrace from the owners to the coaches to the players. Only the fans care, man. Listen, I'm not going to rag on the players. You know, they're trying to some extent. I mean, they're out there competing, and some of the nights the effort is shit. But in the end, and I'm not even going to blame Keefe. He's trying to get blood out of a stone. He has a terrible roster. We've all known that it's been flawed for months. We've seen the struggles on the ice. We all saw it with our own two eyes. And Fitzgerald sat there, taught, his master plan. He's like, oh, I'm going to accrue cap space and do miracle moves at the deadline. And no, you're a joke. You sat on your hands that did nothing and watched the team drown for the second straight season. And this time it's way worse because we were in a playoff spot on deadline day. And he just pulled that life support plug right out and said, you're on your own, boys. And they went out there and they laid down and died tonight. And that's it. The season was decided this afternoon when he did nothing, and tonight. Oh, my God. These comments are scathing. Stop making excuses for this team. I'm not. How am I making excuses for the team? Where are you getting that from? I'm making no excuses. James, oh, wow, our pick is top 10 protected. Let's go lose out. Yeah, great. Matt Jones, Ace, they had you on TV for a good 10 seconds in the first. Yeah, I got a couple ticket photos or screenshots texted to me. Forrest Marty has been hitting Dirty Devil hard all day today. Go Burrow, don't blame Keefe if he just packs it up and goes to the Marlies or Buffalo. If I was him, I'd be like, I'm out of here. This place is dysfunctional. I wouldn't want to coach this team. I don't want to coach. I don't want to coach this team. Turco Media, my man Brian, what's going on? It's a disgrace what happened in regards to trades of the Devils. Anyone that says otherwise is just making excuses. This year has been a waste of time for everyone. Yeah, very well said. A complete waste of time and resources for all involved, including the fans. A damn shame. Amagi, thank you, sir. Even if Sprong has success, why Glass? Tiny upgrade. Sprong was in the AHL all season. These are not real moves, guys. I refuse to even talk about them as if they're real. They're anything significant. These are just this is not a move of anything to even talk about. At that point, bring up Legary or Hallinan from Utica. It's all the same thing. What are we talking about? Lane hits, drop him. It says, give Fitz a break. He tried. Slurp, Markstrom was not the answer. Just say he looked like shit tonight along with the entire team. He didn't look good, but the team was lifeless. The whole team is done. The entire team is done. Rest in peace, 24-25 New Jersey Devils. It's over. 4 Devil ownership signs the checks and fire GMs. That should be their extent. They got to give the green light whether you're going to spend or not. And that's part of the problem. The other problem is, even with the limitations of the ownership group, Fitzgerald has no idea what he's doing. BC, there's no sense complaining to ownership because they're the ones telling Fitz how to manage the cap, save them as much money as possible. I do believe that. But even with that being said, he's drafted terribly. He's made terrible trades, aside from the penny pinching stuff, which I do blame on the owners. Like, again, Chase Stillman, a horrible first-round pick overall. He was traded was he traded in the Sprong or Glass deal? I don't even know. The past day has been a complete blur. But either way, another first-round pick squandered for a guy that was on waivers not too long ago. So you're talking about just lighting first-round picks on fire. It's just complete malpractice. Fitz has to be a puppet of the owners. I think that's only part of the problem. Go Burrow says, Eric G, you are entitled to it. We told you so. Don't go low, but anyone smart should know what that line is. Jason says, Lou never. They gave Fitz layup questions. B says, how do you go out and just admit you're a gimp? Ariel, I saw you on TV in the first period. Yeah, a couple of my buddies texted me pictures of their TV. Samuel, like a kid making excuses to mommy. Stanley, no one on this roster hates to lose. It has even spread to guys like Nason. You could see he was over this shit a month ago. M. Sharp, Ace, how did the Jets look? Contenders? It seems like it to me. The Devils were so bad. It's hard to really gauge. But in the end, their record speaks for itself. They have probably the best goaltender in the world in Connor Hellebuck. And so the question is going to be how do they hold up against some stiff competition in the playoffs in the West? They have just as good of a chance as anybody, in my opinion. Raymond, the second Jack got called out for the season management group. The second Jack got called out for the season management group gave up. They could care less because without Jack, they aren't going to sell tickets. I don't know about that, but either way, whether they don't believe in the team going far without Jack or whatever it is, it's a slap in the face to the rest of the players. Val, I think that Fitz had trouble landing anyone because players already don't want to come here. Yeah, but what does that have to do with it? You don't have to want to come here. If you don't have a no trade clause and your team trades you, that's it. You're out of luck. You don't have a say. Alex, don't even start with the presser. I wish a reporter would actually ask a legitimate question that's on our mind. You know that's not going to happen, guys. You see the media, the quote-unquote media around the Devils. It is what it is. He's never going to get held to the fire. If this guy was in a Canadian market or any real hockey market in the States, whether it was Chicago or Detroit, a couple other ones, he would have been torn limb for limb last year. He wouldn't have made it to this year. He's lucky he's in a place with no real media, so he could hide. He did his little press conference and ran the hell out of there. The New York, nobody says it's a culture issue. Need a culture change. And we need a complete change from top to bottom, and it's just a train wreck. BC, this ownership might be the worst, going all the way back to the 90s when the Tampa Bay Lightning were owned by a Japanese Yakuza mobster. Is that a real story? Nicole, also, why is Markey being touched? The next time someone even goes close to Markey, I want to see blood on the ice. Yeah. That would be nice. I thought, it was in the second period or the third period. Cotter was trying to fight Tanev, and the refs got in the way, and I thought we'd see it later on, and unfortunately that didn't happen. Looked like frustration's boiling over. John Fay, all Fitz talked about were excuses, and more bullshit excuses. Yeah, as predicted by many in these chats. I was really hoping. I said, I'm waiting, guys. People were getting super impatient. And, talking smack early. And I said, I'm going to be fair about this. I'm going to wait and see how this plays out. I am not going to lose my mind prematurely until the deadline's over. And I waited, and the deadline went the way it did, like many of you predicted. Lane hits, drop him hits. I feel like it was a copy paste of last season deadline press conference. It wasn't far off. It wasn't too far off. Brandon, if anyone did the drinking game that was posted on Twitter before Fitz's presser, we'd all be trashed right now. What was it? Was it like his board of excuses? I think I saw one of those. Dire Straits says boycott. Yo, Snand, I hate to say this, but there's really nothing else to look to but for next season. I can't even be excited about next season anymore. That's not even a thing. Like for me, there is no light at the end of the tunnel in this, unless it starts with Fitzgerald being immediately canned. He is absolutely terrible at his job. I don't think he will be released, and I do believe the owners are a huge problem as well. So even if Fitz leaves, if another general manager comes in, we're going to have to kind of luck into a Stanley Cup without having the full, financial support of the ownership group. I do think almost any remotely competent GM would be a significant upgrade from Fitzgerald, but there's still going to be limitations in place because of the ownership group. Case in point, when you have LTIR money and you don't use it or weaponize it, he likes to play banker, right? Fitzy likes to play banker and retain on deals to help facilitate trades to get other guys that even guys that we should have been trying to get them to other cities, retaining some money on them to pick up assets. If there was no guys to truly get, smart GMs would have used all the LTIR money, retaining salaries as a partner in other deals. Didn't do that. We may have had all of our retention slots filled. I don't even know. But either way, we didn't use the money. We could have tried to get some players. And again, I wasn't saying Rantanen or bust, but what player or players was Fitz talking about finishing second? I don't know. I don't think if anyone in the chat, again, it was very loud in the arena and I was trying to hear it. I heard him talking about that, but I don't think he ever actually named the specific player. For all we know, it could have been, it was probably completely made up anyway. He probably wasn't even in on anyone. John Fay, like, seriously, all Fitz did was speak gibberish, bullshit excuses. Yeah, it's excuse after excuse. Nomar, Devil's top 10 pick is fool's gold with Fitzgerald making the picks. I agree with that too, but maybe this time they'd finally wise up and trade it. Like we should have done with many other draft picks that we ended up using foolishly that turned to nothing. Again, Chase Stillman, light that pick on fire. Alex Holtz at number 7, light that on fire. The number 2, a lot of people wanted to see that traded before we used it to pick Nemitz, but if we were going to pick with it again, Logan Cooley or Shane Wright would have been a better pick, or you trade that in a package or by itself to get a known commodity player. There's tons of options, but it's just at every turn, it was a disaster. Stanislav, this is why I tell reps to go far, far away when they call about season tickets. Oh, I laugh at them. I told them to take my number off. Once in a while, I still get a call, and I sometimes I'll entertain them and kind of bring them to the fire, but Seth, it's going to be Jack and Nico on a trade off this team. Well, in 2 years, Nico's a free agent. He could walk. Blackatron, thank you for the super, sir. Chuck Fletcher's the ownership group guy. He's already in our organization. He'll be the next GM. He's even worse. He screwed up the Flyers bad. Do you think he would be the next GM? Can he be worse than Fitzgerald? I don't think it's possible. I truly believe there's at least a handful of people, if not more in this chat, that by blind luck would end up being a better GM than Fitzgerald. Look at what are we talking about? The bar is so low. What did he do that was so good? I'll give him, he had a good offseason, signing players in free agency. Great. In terms of in-season managing and making trades, atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. And punting on another season, we all deserve so much better. The team deserves so much better. It's a shame. BC, Harrison Blitzer, your typical Wall Street tycoon owners who don't give a shit about the team or its fans and see it all as a tax write-off and money grab. Probably. It seems that way. Tommy Lane, all the other YouTubers are grading us an F. What are they grading an F? Our free agency? Our free agency an F? I mean, it was an F. Is that what you're talking about? It was an F. Anyone who says otherwise is either, in on the scam or the grift, if you will. I'm going to call it the grift, the New Jersey grifters, because anything outside of an F, you either don't understand or you're in on it. Like my man Ace Rothstein or Sam, in Casino. In Casino, he told the guy when the slots kept getting hit. My brain, I'm just delirious. I've slept for a few hours the past couple of days. When the slots kept getting hit, the jackpots in the casino, he told the guy, he said, you were either too stupid to realize what was going on or you're in on it. Either way, you got to go. And that's how I feel about this. You were too stupid to see what was going on or you were in on it. Either way, got to go. Solid F for sure. Brandon, that presser was a prime example of the loser mentality that Ace has been stressing about. It couldn't be more of an example of that, Brandon. Loser mentality for a loser franchise. We have been shrouded in losing for 13 years, guys. A losing franchise. A once proud franchise that has just fallen so far from grace. Vic, if you're a disappointed Devils fan, smash that like. Oh, yeah, thanks. Hit the thumbs up for your boy. Absolutely tragic. John Fay, agreed. Markey deserved way more and doesn't deserve. This is correct. Yeah. SJ, hey, you got what you wanted. Ace Kovacevic resigned. Yeah, but at this point, I can't even be excited about it anymore. Poor guy. He should have went to free agency and got the hell out of here, honestly. But I guess, to secure in case of an injury or something, just get the money now. But wow, that poor guy is stuck here on a disaster of a team. Justin, crazy how bad the season is tanked in the blink of an eye. Yeah, it happened pretty quick. Pretty quick. Yeah, they did get booed after the second. Steady Stroker 94. Fitz didn't want to lose valuable assets for rentals. Again, why is there? There's tons of guys with term. What do you people keep talking about rentals? Are you regurgitating talking points from the other people in on the scam that was this season? There was tons of guys that were not rentals. A rental, just so you guys know, because I think people are copy and pasting and don't even know what they're looking at. Rentals are guys that are unrestricted free agents, meaning after the season, their contract is up and they're free to sign wherever they want. That is a potential rental. Now, guys that are pending unrestricted free agents, you also can re-sign them to a contract, which would make them not rentals. But either way, tons of players out there with term, and by term, I mean years left on their contract beyond this season, guys that could have been had that would be here for the next 2 years or so after this season. And so for people to keep saying valuable assets for rentals is nonsense. There was tons of guys with term that we could have gotten. The Hughes injury problems, I'm not blaming on Fitz at all. But this is his team. This is the team he built. BC, Ace, you're assuming Fitz and ownership care about the players, this team, and the fans. Couldn't be further from the truth. Fitz is a bag man for these two penny pinching owners, period. It's possible. It's definitely possible. MSG Vault 15. Fitz did this last year, too. He thought rough and goaltending would fix itself in 23-24 until it was too late. He's an awful GM who overcorrects in the offseason and does nothing in the regular seasons. Yeah. I said he had a very nice offseason, but even after I was praising him for it in the summer, I said, but the real test is going to be, what do you do in season? What do you do at that deadline? What do you do before that deadline? And we got our answer. We got our answer loud and clear. Absolutely nothing. Goboro says, I've seen some Devils fans getting banned for who are you to speak against our team. Got banned from where? Where are people getting banned from for saying the truth? I mean, if you clearly, don't call this for what it is, then like I said, you're either too stupid to realize or you're in on it. Either way, I don't care. I know what I know, and I know that anyone with half a brain cell that knows about this team and this game sees exactly what's going on here. This is not rocket science. This is pretty easy to understand. Davin, when are they going to unlock Timo and put him on the right wing consistently? Probably never. Probably never, and it's too late. Who even cares anymore? No more. I was screaming for Cooley the day of the draft. I knew it was going to haunt us. Dino, Ovechkin Caps teams didn't make the playoffs his first couple seasons. What does that have to do with anything? Sean says Nemitz pick at 2 is a disaster. I don't even know how to pronounce this. I'm just going to say Tinvut. Tinvut, I like your jersey. Thank you. This is an older practice jersey. I always loved the black jerseys. Was always a fan. Samuel, this culture will ruin Nemitz if it hasn't already. Ted, Fitz thinks everyone on this team is untouchable. Mark, this team doesn't even really have a core. It's just a bunch of random dudes picking up paychecks. I mean, it's a painful time. I plan on not going to any Devils game until either Fitz is gone or the team is sold to competent ownership. I don't think. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're ever selling. I don't think they're ever selling the team. I guess there's a small chance that Fitz gets canned, but I don't think so because I think in the end, while he's terrible at his job, I think he has all the built-in excuses that he used in the press conference. I think he could use that same kind of speech to the owners, and they'll eat it up. As long as that money's there, when the owners look at the coffers at the end of the day, as long as they look at their reports and that money's coming in, I don't think they really care. Spirit in the sky. I knew Fitz wasn't going to make any real moves. Just looked at last year's incompetence with Fitz. Another year we missed the playoffs. Yeah. Weird that Rags fans are here. Alex, wow, I don't know the owners actually went to the games. Not all of them, but they were there tonight. I saw them from across the way. They were kind of, there's this like weird special box that's like against, like it's like in their own little bubble thing that's right on the ice. They were there, and I saw them hightailing it out in the chopper. Devil's rule, I've always wondered who was showing up to the games in a chopper. Yeah, billionaire status. John Fay, who knew the owners were actually at a game for a team they don't give two shits about? Well, I mean, it's like your play thing, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to go watch the team I own play, and then I'm going to take a chopper up out of there. Coin is king for the ownership. Andrew, the real question is, what does Fitz know to be able to keep his job after so many screw-ups? Who knows? Ride and respect. Kills me to say this, but the team will lose its playoff spot, and honestly, well deserved. This is on ownership, and Fitz won't blame Keefe until he has a respectable roster. Keefe is nowhere near to be blamed, in my opinion. No. Jimmy Woo, I can forgive last year when we gave up goals due to a negative mindset, but seeing the players actually giving up on plays today in the late Allen blowout are straight up embarrassing. Nomar, I heard Fitz on pregame that he may have missed out on some trades because he spent so much time on the one where he came in second. He has a bunch of assistant GMs for a reason. I mean, it's just excuses on excuses. There's absolutely no forgiving it. There should not be another season for him to mismanage this roster into the ground again. Stanley, the sad thing is that this nightmare is far from over. This franchise is boned for years to come. That's just the harsh truth. Unfortunately, I said, yeah, that's why I was very, devastated, because it's not an easy fix and there is no end in sight. This is a deep-rooted problem. I don't see how it gets fixed whatsoever. The end is nowhere near in sight. This is just going to be a constant travesty. And honestly, this could be my farewell tonight. I don't even know if I want to watch the games anymore. Never mind do this. For what? To get aggravated? I don't need this aggravation. I would have a lot more free time to do more productive stuff in my life if I didn't spend so much time on this. Michaela, I didn't think it could get any worse. I was wrong. Donnell, the teams that got better on the trade deadline is the Stars, Avalanche, Lightning, Panthers. Yeah, teams trying to win. Richard, I feel like you've entered the final phase of grief, acceptance. I was really hoping for a better season, but it is what it is. Better luck next year. I don't think next year is going to be any better. Jason says Hellebuck looks shaky. Maybe a little bit, but Nicole, I was there too. It was painful. So painful. Go Boro Ace, how do you feel about the fans legit leaving the Devils for Ottawa now? What do you mean by that? Queens, New York, Ace, I can't believe you're not in the hospital, in ICU after this worst day in Devils history for us old schooler Glory Day OGs. I don't know if it's the worst day in Devils history, but it's a very dark one that I'll never forget. A complete nothing. a complete, absolute nothing on trade deadline day, followed by a just absolute finale getting stomped by the Jets on home ice. Slurp, are we still going to call all this negativity doomers? I would say the majority can see reality for what it is. Oh, no. Now this is not dooming. This is just facts. Facts. Queens, New York guy Fitz ran off after the press conference with that liar, gas face, booze face, whatever you boys call that. Terrible. Daniel Kelly, is Steve Cohen interested in buying a hockey team? Hasn't won a World Series, the Mets, but at least he tries. Yeah, that's the difference between a passionate owner and someone who uses your team, your team as the, as an investment vehicle. We are an investment vehicle of a huge private equity conglomerate. A prime season of Markstrom flushed down the toilet. Indeed it is, and it's disgusting. He deserved much better. Mark, oh, by the way, Kovacevic has a no movement clause. Fitz handing him out like candy, so this team is going to look like this for a bit. Again, that's the least of my worries. Of all the things with this team, Kovacevic's no movement clause is honestly not even registering as an issue to me. Riot and respect. Thank you, sir. I had a better time sending you the super chat than I did watching the game tonight. Cheers to still doing these through this horror show. Yeah, thanks a lot, Riot and respect. Don't know how much longer I could go on for. This is literally, it's just draining. It's absolutely draining. But thank you very much for the super chat. And, cheers to all of you. Cheers to all of you, especially the people who have been around all year and beyond. Some of you before that. It was a fun ride while it lasted, but this team has absolutely turned their back on the fans, the organization anyway. And I'm not talking about the players. I'm talking about the organization itself. Calling a spade is not dooming. This organization is embarrassing from top to bottom. 13 years of this bullshit. Gem card collecting our logo means so much, especially to fans that have seen cups. Stevens would be ashamed of this team. I'm upset, but I'm proud to be a Devils fan. Fitzy made too many excuses today. He needs to go. I think that's all very fair. Queens, New York guy, get the likes up, boys. There's 300 of us. Wow. 300 of us in here, only 84 likes. Inexcusable. Yeah, hit the thumbs up if you could, Hit us up. Alex, bro, did Fitz gaslight fans into thinking he's in on all these players? I don't even care anymore. Who's Eric G? Oh, the Ranger guy? Gem card, I promise you, Ace, we'll eventually get another Stanley Cup winning team. Just don't think it's going to be this core. In Yegorov, Salayev, we trust. Oh, that's so far away. That is so far away. So far away. Emma, I would love to see how much the season ticket holder numbers plummet from this season to next. Oh, it's going to be staggering. It's going to be a staggering plummet, and they deserve it. You are literally insulting the fan base. You're paying customers, season ticket holders. You are insulting them, making these nonsense moves. Cody Glass and Daniel Sprong, give me a break. Give me a break. And people are supposed to be excited by that? It's ridiculous. Samuel, playoff tickets raise big dollars for a team. Eventually, no playoffs, no fans. I lived in Florida, and the owners back then would send 200 guys out to sell tickets in the parking lot, 25 for lower level. Alex, Ace, I saw you on the MSG broadcast, and you looked visibly disgusted and angry. Also, that Fitz interview was horrendous, ? Yeah, the interview was absolutely horrendous. Go check it out for yourself. And you could be enraged like I was watching it. I wanted to smash my phone in the lounge. Jay Snow, Devils have to do whatever to try to sign Bennett in free agency. He would be very high on my list for sure. Heavier, edgier, more violent gentleman. Like Bennett, I think he's going to get paid. Morgan Williams going to need to fill the rock with fire. Fitz chance. The most of the fans at the games don't know enough to even really have any idea what's going on, if I'm being perfectly honest. You know, the arena is not filled with hardcore fans. Most of you are, I would say, somewhat hardcore fans. If you're on a YouTube live after a game watching me talk about the Devils and whatever else, you're somewhat hardcore. I guess there's some of you that really aren't hardcore, but for whatever reason you found yourself in here. But either way, the average fan at a game has no idea what's going on. Very little. No idea. Morgan, hockey trades are allowed. It doesn't have to be rentals. Slurp, Ace, before you're admitted to an institution, I'll come and save you. All the respect in the world for you. Thanks, man. What a terrible day. Michael, best thing about tonight's game was seeing Ace behind the Jets bench. I was into until the second goal. Rough day. Spirit in the sky. As long as this organization is making money, there will be no change. That is my biggest fear. And despite being a bad team, they're still profitable. And if that's all the owners care about, then where is the relief? There's no relief in sight. Brandon joined late, might have covered it. Were you at the game? They flashed Jets coach and could have sworn you were in the seats behind him. I was. Shout out to my buddy Rick. We were on the glass behind the Jets bench. We were on TV at least a couple times. I got some texts from some other people watching on TV. Richard, Devils aren't holding that third seed. Sorry to say, I thought that before the injuries. Well, you're a little late. I gave up on that for sure. We're not even going to get a wild card. Mark, Fitz and ownership can make so much more revenue if they made this team competitive. I have 13-year-old students who know who Jack Hughes is and are Devils fans. I'm in New Mexico where hockey isn't big. Okay. Mark, billionaires are on an entire different plane of reality from us. These teams are just toys to play with and put away at the end of the season. It certainly seems like that. For sure. Queens, New York guy Ace Fitz raved about Kobe taking advantage of his opportunity, but this loser didn't take advantage of $13 million in cap space. No, he didn't. He did not. Stanislav says Fitz for general mismanager. Ryan Fisher, he talked about there being scoring opportunities, but then not being able to convert. Yeah, no shit, Fitz, because the players aren't good enough to convert them. That's your job. It's crazy. Devs rule hockey. You'll become an alcoholic if you continue to watch games and do this. Maybe. It's just bad, man. It's just what a disappointment for all the fans that are, that really support the team and love the Devils. Johnny K, long time no post. Sorry you're going through this, Ace. I'm so glad I was there for Glory Days. I feel really bad for newer Devs fans that haven't experienced any success. Yeah, we've solved kind of a piece of the puzzle. It's that these a lot of the newer fans don't know any of the winning teams. All they know is losing, and that's probably why they're so accepting of it. Mark, why would anyone want to be a GM after Fitz? He's going to leave them a huge mess. Probably, but if guys are offered GM gigs in the NHL, they typically jump on it. Go Boro. I think we've had 2 fans in here now say they are quitting the Devils and becoming Ottawa fans. And that one even said they bought a Brady jersey even. That's their prerogative. I could totally understand it if you weren't a diehard. I wish I could just change my team, but obviously we're way past that now. Devin G, Ace, you let us suffer together. It helps ease the pain somehow. Appreciate you, dude. Yeah, thanks for watching, Devin. It's been a painful season for all of us. Super unfortunate way for it to just, to end on a slow bleed. We're just going to slowly bleed out. Seth, thank you for the super, sir. This team stopped playing after Christmas and they found out he was not going to do anything. But I don't think they knew that, though. How would they know that? It's not like Fitz went in the locker room and was like, hey, guys, I'm not doing shit at the deadline. Good luck to you. It wasn't known until today. I believe going into today, a lot of the guys in that locker room probably thought he was going to do something to help the team. And then at the end of the day, they were like, what? Cody who? Daniel Sprong? What? Cody Glass? Daniel Sprong, the guy that's been in the A for the past 4 months? It's terrible. Meadowlander, just back from Newark. No words. Lanny, Jets fan here. How much of how the Devils look tonight was based on their injury situation? Reading the comments and listening in, it sounds far more reaching than that. Oh, it's so much more far reaching than that, Lanny. The injuries didn't help, but in the end, this team just, I don't know what the hell happened. They started to collapse late December after the holiday break, and they've been on a free fall ever since. And our completely clueless general manager just stood by the wayside and just watched us slowly, get in more and more of a playoff standing race as our lead evaporated and teams continued to close the gap. And we're on the verge of going into the wild card pool and then eventually slipping out entirely. BC, the situation is our beloved franchise is basically being held hostage by 2 greedy pig owners and run by a clueless GM whose only goal is to save ownership as much money as possible. Certainly seems that way. Certainly seems that way. Ryan, I do think you're right about ownership. Says they made $67 million last year, but that's before taxes and a few other things. That's nothing to these dudes. They're penny pinching, obviously. So sad. Pro Bowl, would Brodeur be a better GM than Fitz? I have to believe yes, just because I hate to again just be so negative, but I think so poorly of Fitzgerald that I honestly believe I would be a better general manager. And I'm not just saying that to be funny. He is so bad and has made a complete mess of so many situations. I 100% believe I would be better than him. Now, that's not me saying, oh, this guy thinks he could be an NHL general manager. I probably wouldn't be a great one, but I would be better than him because that's not saying much. The bar is very low. So I do think Marty being around the game for all that time would be much better than him. With a team in place of whoever, his trusted associates would be, I think he would be better than Fitz. But I would be fearful now for him to be fearful of him to take the gig just because I think there is a lot of restraints from up above that come with the job. And I would hate for Marty to be set up to fail and for that to possibly kind of be, I'm not going to say a stain on his legacy, but just kind of an unfortunate chapter in the role as a general manager. Steve Smith, sup, Ace? Someone in Discord snagged a screen grab of you on the broadcast. What Discord? Pat McAfee for owner, John Madden for GM. Trying to find my spot here. Devin G says, we deserve the rags trolls. We laughed at them in December. Now look. Make the Devils great again. Bargain bin fits. NJ Devils hockey. Nico only has 2 years left on his contract. If something doesn't change, he wants out. Oh, I would 100% think he wants out. He's probably already thinking about it. This place is a disaster. Traveling Devil. Buying tickets in the parking lot was better than the digital BS today, no doubt. Buying actual tickets in the parking lot. The good old days. Brandon, I don't even want to think about free agency if management doesn't change. I think you're beat. SST, Ace wanted 2 bottom 6 guys. He got them and now is complaining. These are not legitimate bottom 6 guys, SST. Just stop it. Don't be ridiculous. I was talking about real bottom 6 guys, not this. This is, you could make the argument that, and it's very, very well possible, that the guys we have in Utica or on the roster now are better than what they picked up. I don't even know what the point of making these moves were, honestly. It's just a smoke screen. It's no real moves. Mark, the only reason our future looks bright is because someday Fitz won't be the GM anymore. Might be a long time. Steady Stroker 94. What can be done about Jack's durability? I'm afraid probably nothing. Richard, haven't been this pissed off since Kovalchuk screwed us. Steve Smith, I don't envy you having to read some of the takes in here and deal with repeat offenders. Yeah, it gets troubling sometimes. It really does. Mark, I find that hard to believe, Ace. The crowd did do fire Lindy chants at the beginning of 22-23. Well, Mark, you have to understand, I think that is a little more when on a slide like that, the coach is a more obvious target a lot of the times, I think, than the GM. And then once it rings at, like, once a small group starts it in the arena, I think the group thing kind of spreads quick and people are like, yeah, and then they all start doing it. But it takes that initial passionate group with true hatred in their heart to get a chant like that started. And, you know, Fitzy seems to have ducked it. Stanley, the answers are in the room. The team loves each other. I came in second place in some trades. No dickheads, big game hunting. Man. Stickfix, I cared more about drunkenly consuming about 2,000 to 2,500 calories in the past 25 minutes than the organization has about winning for the past few years. Sprong was a 20-goal scorer a couple of times. Good for a B6 guy, I argue. Then I'll argue, why was he in the minors since December or whenever it was? You know? He has 5 points in 19 games played this year. Why would I believe that he's any better than what we already have here? He scored 20 goals in 22-23. Oh, you know who else was good that year? Oh, Tatar was great that year, 22-23. How does he look now? What are we talking about? This is not a legitimate pickup. Just stop it, SST. You're continuing to troll. Devils rule SST. He hasn't played the NHL since December. I disagree. Obviously, no one's counting this as a real team, real move, guys. Let's be real. Dire Straits, I don't feel bad for the newer fans. They like to talk down to the old school fans because they all think they know everything. And they like loser culture. Completely true. Right and respect, it really does feel like I've been stabbed in the back by this organization like a close friend that I love dearly that just wishes me to be in pain and enjoys my suffering. Devin G says, and Casey on the bench for Nemitz, why? I think Casey proved his upside is ripe. They're afraid Nemitz will bitch the media again or what? I speculated that could have played a part in it a couple weeks ago. At this point, again, that would even, no matter how that actually came to be, at this point, it's just, there's just layers to this thing. Who even cares? It's just, that's such an insignificant detail, in my opinion, now, given everything else that's happened in the last week or so. NJ Swamp Fox, Fitz has quit on this team and even more on loyal Devils fans 2 years in a row that his turkey of a GM has let the team and its fans down. Completely true. Jay Snow, we really need to make some tough decisions in the offseason. Go Burrow, but I'm going damn at Ace, even saying that he understands and he'd move if he wasn't a diehard. The sky has fallen. The organization's a disaster. It's a complete disaster. Samuel, the real money for the owners is in the appreciation of the price of the franchise. Look at what they paid for the Devils and look at what it's worth now. Yeah, I forget exactly what it was. I think they paid like $320 million or $350 million, and it's worth like $2 billion. So they've already like 6x their money. I wish they would just cash out and get the hell out, but they're never gonna. They're collecting sports franchises like some people collect hockey cards. LJ, thanks for the super chat. Pro tip: search Fitzgerald Brindamore fight. Video is grainy, but it's a few therapeutic seconds of him getting beat down. That's hilarious. I'm gonna have to do that. That's pretty funny. I think I found it. I'm gonna drop the link. That's pretty funny. Is this the one you're talking about? I just dropped it in the chat. Thank you for the super. I just dropped the link. I think that's the one you're talking about. Louis NJ, thank you, sir. Hey, Ace, I saw you on TV in the first period. Also, this is the worst. This team is killing me. I can't believe we're in the doldrums again. Louis, I can't believe we're in the doldrums again either. It's after last year's punt, with me saying all week, I feel like an idiot because all the people that were ready to kill Fitzgerald super early when I was like, just wait, give him some time. I truly want to believe he's working on it. I'm going to wait to pass judgment till the deadline comes. And all the people that wanted blood early, they were all vindicated. He did absolutely nothing like they predicted. Never saw it coming. I thought we'd get at least one legitimate NHL player. We did not. We did absolutely not. John Woodson says tomorrow the channel name will be Dooming with the Devils. No, it's not dooming. This is real life now. This is not dooming. This is just calling everything for exactly what it is. Yeah, Nicole, I wouldn't say doomers. I would just say realists. Yeah, everyone saw what didn't happen today, and most of you at this juncture have seen that press conference. And I know from a quick scan, obviously there's this somewhat delusionally blind that will always defend everything that happens. There's a few people doing that, but for the most part, I would say it's 90% of people that feel very similar to the way I do, and they're furious at the franchise. If you go on X, you'll see tons of people that are up in arms that want Fitzgerald gone, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. To sit there and say, leading up to the deadline, that the Devils are buyers and you're going to be in the mix, this, that, and the other thing, shame on you for saying that, and shame on people like me who wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt, because all of you people that were doubting from the beginning, you were all correct. Yeah, and you know what? Props to that kid, Daniel Amoya. I'm looking on X now. He asked Tom Fitzgerald if he was interested in Daniel Sprong in December when he could have gotten Daniel Sprong was on waivers in December. We could have got him for free. So the kid asked him if he was interested in him in December, and Fitz just talked in circles, and he said, we talked about it at the time, but we just felt, we've seen this player in the past actually score goals and use speed, especially when Washington played us, and thought, you know what? This is a low-risk move, with high return. What? Makes absolutely no sense. Didn't answer the question and shows what a doofus he is. It's unbelievable. Malpractice. Complete malpractice to let this buffoon continue to masquerade as the general manager of a professional hockey team in the NHL. Ridiculous. It's unbelievable. I didn't see that till just now. Yeah, so shout out to Daniel Amoya. He's a young guy. And I guess he's one of the only few people that aren't on the Devils payroll that might ask a real question. And that was a real question. And Fitz looked like the idiot that he is. No one else is going to ask him a question like that. Unreal. How many times did Fitz say we tried? I believe a bunch. I'm going to watch it again after this and get all aggravated all over again. I was in the arena and it was pretty loud. It was hard to hear all of it, but I was able to make out a good amount of the just nonsensical excuses. Disgusting, honestly. Absolutely disgusting. I think they're going to have attendance issues down the stretch of the year. I really do. I think there's going to be a lot of games where the attendance is pretty damn sparse. Between them punting on the season again and without Jack Hughes in the lineup, I think there's going to be a lot of empty seats in that thing down the stretch. That's what worries me the most, that Fitz is going to be here for longer than we realize, and that we're going to be stuck with HBSE until the team is worth nothing. The team will never be worth nothing, unfortunately. That's with inflation just in general in the world, and with the lucrative, everything involving or everything surrounding a pro sports team, whether it's the tickets or the TV deals and merchandise and all that, it seems like sports team values have nowhere to go but up. But unfortunately, I don't think they're going to ever sell. James, next time ownership is in the building, there needs to be a sell the team chance. We can't even get the people just don't know any better, man. John Woodson, I believe Fitz tried. We were forced to go big game hunting with a 22 while everyone else had cannons. I'm not buying it. Ace, who's your cup favorite? I'd have to think about it. There's a lot of teams I think that could win. I'd have to really sit down and analyze. A lot of good teams this year, I think. Did I read this one? I'm delirious. Louis, hey, Ace, I saw you on TV in the first period this year. I think I read this. This is the worst. The team is killing me. I can't believe in the doldrums. Yeah, thank you to Louis. Yeah, another year in the doldrums, man. I can't believe it. Vic, I still have most of the players on this team, but I don't really have much hope. Thanks a lot. Fitz. Devil's Rule, Glass Sprong and Dowling line is going to be fire. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hashtag Cup Champs 25. Give me a break. Dire Straits, it's sad the Devils have a good fan like Ace, the good podcast, and the team blows. I don't think that's why it's a travesty. How about it's just a disgrace to the state of New Jersey and all of the fans? Forget me. I'm a nobody, but a fan that cares about the team more than I should because I'm an idiot. When the team is just, it's nowhere near, the team it used to be. The team that I grew up watching, there's nothing about this franchise that's the same. Once again, if they make it to the playoffs, would you call it a miracle? If we do, I like our chances in the first matchup. No way, man. I don't think we make it to the playoffs. If we do, I wouldn't call it a miracle just because we were in a spot all year. I would say I'm pleasantly surprised. But in the end, this team has no heart. And I do believe they will lay down and get crushed in the first round. Jack, Ace, gun to your head. Which of the team's current forwards would you bring back next year? Oh boy, we're gonna play this game. Obviously all the big guns are coming back. I mean, a lot of them are under contract, so yeah, I mean, a lot of them are under contract. All the guys that are falling off just got to fall off. I believe Lazar will be done. I believe Bastion will be done. I think Haller we're stuck with for another year or two. Let me see Haller's contract. I would try to move out as many of these guys as possible and try to get a fresh new team in the bottom 6 anyway, just because this was just an unacceptable year. Just complete no-show from the bottom 6. No, Haller for one more year. Yeah. Davin, not signing Toffoli to an extension was a huge mistake. $6 million for him is just not worth it. I'm sorry. It's just not. He's a good player, but $6 million. Now, I'll say not replacing him was a big mistake. I think for $6 million, we could have got some decent forwards. And even today, we could have traded for, guys making that similar amount of money. Now, it would have cost us some assets. But Toffoli, I do like him. I was sad that it didn't work out with him, and then we sold him on the low. It is crazy we couldn't get a first rounder for him. But I don't think he was worth the $6 million for that many years. I think his contract is probably going to age terribly. And I do think, overall, the mistake was not replacing him. I'm not going to say it was a mistake not to sign him specifically, but not replacing him was a mistake. And then believing that, Tatar was going to have some magic of some kind. That's where the mistake is. And hoping that Tatar could fill the role, which clearly he couldn't. London, I've been scared to come in your chat because of the Doomers, and I'm already suicidal enough about the Devils right now. I mean, at this point, the dooming has calmed down a little bit just because, I call dooming, like, if you're being realistic about the team sucking, I don't call that dooming. Dooming is like when it's 1-0 and people are like, this guy's the worst ever. Timo Meyer's awful. That's dooming. But now when we're all just kind of here at a pre-funeral service, it's not dooming. It's just being very realistic. We got waxed 6-1 tonight on the night of the trade deadline after our GM did absolutely nothing and then had yet the latest in his series of tragic press conferences where he, fumbled his words and made excuse after excuse. And that the reality is, like someone else pointed out, anyone else in the real world that is this bad at their job would have been fired. He shouldn't have never made it to this season if we're being real. And he certainly shouldn't make it to next. What are we talking about? This is a results-driven business. And unfortunately, he's not delivering the results. It's very simple. Very simple. It's going to be 2 years in a row of missing the playoffs after setting the franchise record with 112 points, beating the New York Rangers in that beautiful 7-game series. And all of the main pieces are still here. Timo Meier, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Jack Hughes. They're all still here. Dougie Hamilton. There's no excuse. Artie, dude, I saw you on TV. You looked miserable. Oh, I was. I was miserable about the day, and I was miserable about what I was watching. Painful. SJ, let's see what they do against the goalie that's not Hellebuck. Oh, do you mean a goalie like Mackenzie Blackwood that we're 0-2 against on the season, or a goalie like Casey DeSmith who we're 0-2 against, or that guy from Detroit, I can't even remember his name. Was it Lyon or maybe it was somebody else that we couldn't score on? I mean, we've looked terrible against any goalie. I'm done with trying to put any sort of positive spin on it. In the end, this team started off so promising, so good at the Christmas break, fell off a cliff, and we slowly bled out. We bled to death, and Fitzgerald just watched it slowly with his arms folded like this from the sideline while we slowly bled out. Completely unacceptable. And his last chance to save the team was today. Inject a little new blood into the team, give him some life, and he unplugged the life support, guys. And that's all she wrote. There's nothing else to say. There's no other way to slice it. That is the reality of what happened with this situation. And it's unfortunate. I'm gutted over it. And even more so because it's not only this season is lost, It's not this season. It's this is a more far-reaching issue. This is not easily fixed. Fitzgerald getting canned is just the first step of it. The ownership group is an absolute problem. Confirmed. They are a problem. And as long as they're in charge, we're going to be kind of hamstrung to some extent. Now, again, I do think the team could be much better with a better GM, but that's not fixing everything because the owners they're meddling in the business and they're not giving the full support that an owner that wants to win at all costs would. See Vegas Golden Knights, see Tampa Bay Lightning, and look how they operate. Mark, not directed at you, Ace, but remember the old saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me? I think we're all feeling like this right now. I always knew what he was. I wanted him gone last year, and everybody knows that. I wanted him gone last year after punting on the season and doing nothing. I thought that was malpractice enough, and he had to go for wasting last year. Then once it was evident he wasn't going to go anywhere, I was like, okay, we're stuck with this guy. I'm going to hope for the best in the summer. He delivered in the summer. And even at that point, I praised him multiple times. I said the offseason was phenomenal. Love the offseason. Heavier, edgier, more violent. Shore up the defense. Get a real goalie for the first time in forever. But I also said, in the end, free agency is not the end-all, be-all. While I'm excited about this, the true measure of a good GM is going to come with your in-season moves. Leading up to the deadline, are you going to do what it takes to bolster the team, to get them, prime for a playoff run? And the answer is emphatically no. From last season and this season, we've seen the same. Like many pointed out, it was virtually a copy and paste of his, speech of excuses, nearly a copy and paste. And so there should not be another season. He shouldn't have got this season. He really shouldn't have. He shouldn't have made it to this season. But now for 2 seasons in a row of the same thing, no question about it, he should not make it to next season. He shouldn't make it to the end of this season. But at this point, it's already over. They let him mess up another deadline. So we're not going to gain anything by canning him now. But he should be shown the door on the final day of the season. His shit should be packed in one of those little boxes, and they should have scored him out of the arena to never be heard from again. Blackatron, I really don't want to watch the presser. It's going to make me furious. Just fire it up, man. Devin G, I'm headed out. Appreciate the chat, y'all. I'm going to enjoy the wins when they come this year, but no more expectations for me. Till next time, let's go Devils. How about let's go Timo instead? Slurp, Ace, deposit your apology for hanging on to the fantasy bubble that has exploded. Laugh my ass off in a respectable manner. I already said I was completely wrong. I said, listen, I'm gonna join all of you on the front lines with my sharpened blades and go for throats if he doesn't deliver. But I said, I am holding out. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm waiting till the deadline passes. You guys were out for blood early, and I waited and waited and waited. And in the end, you guys were correct. He did absolutely nothing. And here we are kicking his back in like he deserves, because the fan base deserves much better than this. And again, the players in the locker room deserve better than this. Benjamin says, oh yeah, Moya speared his ass. Probably the only person who asked him any sort of real questions, I'm sure. I think Amoya is a college student. I think he is. Dire Straits, don't watch it again, Ace. Don't put yourself through that. Yeah, wild. Moya asked a good question about Gritsug, too. I didn't see that. I haven't looked at much because I literally just got out of the arena, went to the roof, yelled at the chopper to sell the team, then jumped in the car, and drove home and jumped on here. Brandon says tickets to the next home game already plummeted. Shocking. I wouldn't go if they gave me free tickets. John, missed the game but spent all day listening while writing my final midterm paper. It sucks. I'm extremely disappointed, but I appreciate you, Ace. Thanks for the coverage. Let's go Devils. Yeah, thanks for listening, man. Hope you get a decent grade on your midterm paper. I remember those days. Jay Snow, let's dangle Bratter and a pick for Tage Thompson. I mean, at this point, we have to be like a destination no one wants to come to. I think he's like, not Jersey. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'll chill in Buffalo. I'm gonna ride this Buffalo thing out. Go Boro, you're somebody to us, Ace. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. But in the end, Benjamin, I gave up for 12 years and they sucked me back in last year. I feel duped and cheated. You should. You should feel duped and cheated because you were. SJ says, yeah, Fitz's speaking skills could use some work. Forget his speaking skills. His general managing skills could use some work. Maybe he should go hone them elsewhere. Go ruin another team. Cerberus says, if Brat goes, we literally are the NJ Hughes because no one else could drive a play. I think Timo Meyer would like to have a word with you. Lanny, Dallas would put Ranton in with Hintz, not Duchesne. I don't know why we're talking about Dallas. Jason says Timo drives play. Beachmaster, Fitz didn't snub him. Billy Guerin was the GM of Team USA. And Tage Thompson will certainly be on the American Olympic team next year. Vic says trade Mercer with the first and Nemitz for a bona fide star this offseason. It would have been nice to do that today. Why wait till the offseason? It would have been nice to do it today. Mark says, could we have at least gotten a left wing so Timo could go back to the right wing? I think it's pointless to continue to talk about that. I don't think it's ever going to happen. Woodson says Mercer plus a first plus Nemitz is not a star. I guess it depends on what your kind of barometer of a star is. Jason says Nemitz will still give you a good return. John Fay, all right, at running with the Devils Ace. I'm heading out. Hopefully, I see you Sunday for the Devils Flyers postgame. I don't know, man. I might be retired by then, my man. I just don't know if I have it in me to waste my time with all of this. Like, what is the point? I'm just devastated. It's awful. It's the worst feeling. Way worse than last year because we were in a spot and we're just slowly just throwing it by the wayside, saying, there you go, Columbus, Rangers, whoever wants it, or we'll just fall completely out of everything. SST, Mercer, Nemitz, and a first would have gotten Raquel at most. I mean, that seems pretty steep for him, but Raquel would have been nice. Nick, the amount of fans that are defending Fitz is disgusting. I've been fighting these fake-ass fans all day. Loser mentality, I'm over it. Listen, Nick, the people defending him are clueless. Don't even waste your breath. There's facts and reality, and then there's delusional idiots. They're clearly delusional. The reality is what it is. He did nothing. He got two AHL players today, and no one's going to applaud that, and no one's going to be fooled into believing that you tried to improve the team. You tried to save the owner some money. You had Anaheim retain on that last deal, and you did nothing. You fooled nobody that has half a brain cell. So congratulations, Nick. You understand what's going on. Whoever you're arguing with is lost. Why even bother? What is it, some Gen Z idiot on X? Don't waste your time, man. There's no point. These people started watching hockey last year, and they think they're the authority on it. Don't waste your time. Rico, at this point for GM, I'd take a good YouTube analysis over Fritz. Again, the bar is very low. The bar is very low. Husky Unchained just got home from work and watched the Devils highlights. Wow, damn. Devils fans don't deserve this shit. No, they don't. Peter would have never imagined being in the spot 2 years in a row after the 23 playoffs. Let Marty take over as GM. I would love for Marty to take over, but like I said, my main concern is that there are restrictions from above. And if Marty's not going to be put in the best position to succeed, I'd rather him not take it. If it's just if you're just getting set up to fail. Knowles, sorry for the dumb questions before. I don't remember what they were. So, having a hard time digesting today and all the bad news and getting spanked by the Jets. Can we as fans or season ticket holders do anything disgusting? No. The only thing you could do is vote with your wallet and not pay for tickets and show up to games. That's really all you could do. And in the end, a lot of people would have to do it for them to feel anything. And it's not going to matter because there's enough people that are just, ignorance is bliss. And, we're going to the hockey game. And they're going to pay money for the tickets. They're going to sit there. They're not going to care if they win or lose. They're going to go home and life goes on. That's the reality of it. That is the economics of sport. Woodson with a good offseason will be back on the playoff run. Thoughts? Oh, no. No, I'm just so devastated by all this. I'm pretty much checked out at this point. Go Bora, rather than telling the Devils it's okay, take the family out for some nice food instead. Don't let these wankers like Fitz and the owners wreck your afternoon for a few dollars. Brian, the deadline rarely impacts teams. Fitzy can be blamed for the current construction of this team and draft picks. Nothing done today would have mattered. We lost 6-1. I'm not talking about this game specifically. I'm talking about the kind of the outlook on the season, the rest of the season going forward. Had we gotten some real players, I believe the team would have been in a much better position and at least, slightly energized. They did nothing, and the team, it was just the last kind of hurrah. Brian, fan since 94, and it's just so hard to like this brand of hockey. Chico, it's not unsalvageable. They've beaten teams they're better than pretty consistently. CBJ is surging, but NJ is better. Philly, they beat 5-0 last time. Oh, Chico. Oilers are on a skid. Oh, you're going down with the ship, huh, Chico? Oh, God. I guess if you were there tonight, you would be a little more, I think, in tune with reality. This team is zapped. Completely zapped. Chico, it's not impossible. If they can't find 4 or 5 wins out of this next 6-game streak, it's over, completely over, no chance whatsoever. NJ Swamp Fox, a big man can admit when he's wrong. A little boy will never admit it while repeatedly saying, I told you so. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. For Devil, you're not wrong, Chico, but you need some serious beer goggles to see that. Jack, Ace, let me rephrase it. If you were to bring back only forwards you wanted to, are you talking about regardless of contract situations, Jack? Like if contracts weren't a thing and it was just like we're on the playground and you could be like, you're off my team, goodbye. Brian, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not talking about this specific game. I'm talking about the season going forward. Any guys we traded for today were obviously not going to play tonight. I'm more talking about the rest of the season. Chico, Fitz got no help. Fitz failed his team. Fitz watched Hall and not recorded points since Thanksgiving and still has not even called up anyone and tried them. Forget a trade. He hasn't called up Hallinan. It is furious. Go Boris says, Ace, running with the Comets. Oh, boy. Maybe. Fitz is a complete failure and honestly should be unemployed by Sunrise. I don't ever want to see this one. Wow, even Chico's fired up. Wow, Turco Media just canceled my season tickets for next season. Done. I can't say I blame you. I mean, why pay money to be insulted? I would never be able to have season tickets. It's crazy. I just wouldn't be able to do it to myself. Nicole, at the end of the day, they'll get bums in the seats and not care. Maybe, but at some point, those tickets are expensive. People are, I think they're going to have a lot of trouble selling tickets the rest of this season. when people realize, oh, this team's going nowhere and there is no Jack Hughes, they're going to have to get real crafty. Like I said, I wouldn't go if they were giving tickets away. I have better things to do with my time now than to drive to that, drive through Newark. You could go to the arena and go through the whole rigmarole. Ice fishing is way better up here than in Jersey. Jack, next time one of their season ticket people call me, I'm going to yell at them through the phone. Mark, Fitz missed his window. The time to strike was after 22-23. We were like one of the best UFA destinations after that season. Now, yeah, because you could see. Benjamin, F all that, we'll get him next year. As Pete Townshend once wrote, won't be fooled again. Woodson, if you swap Hall and Palat for actual hockey player, hit on a Nason like bottom six guy, this team would look a lot different. Yeah, I'm just over it, man. They're just such a dysfunctional organization. This GM is a disgrace, essentially giving up on a season 2 years in a row, and both years still had hopes of playoffs, and this year we're in a spot. Yeah, this year is way worse than last year, in my opinion. Last year was severely damning. Last year was severely damning, and this is even worse, in my opinion, because now we're in a spot, not hoping to get into one. Now we were legitimately in a spot, and we've just been slowly sliding for 10 weeks now, and nothing was done. And then on the last day to give us bullshit excuse after bullshit excuse, and then bring in 2 fringe NHL or basically AHL players, and then be like, oh, look at the improvements we did. Nah. Go Boro. Ace, if this is the end of the game stuff, so what you got planned for the channel going forward? Love the interviews. I have a couple more interviews coming out. I'll always try to do the interviews. As far as other stuff, I don't even know. I probably will be less active going forward. Obviously the season's coming to an end, and so there's not a lot going on in the summer. And it's I just don't know at this point. I'm so fed up with the team in so many ways that I really don't know what else there is to do, really, other than talk to guys from the past that were involved in winning and go down memory lane with winners, guys that actually won for a franchise that gave a shit. Brandon, do you think tonight's performance may be in response for not bringing in much needed reinforcements? I hate the tanking mindset, but that was one of our worst games of the season. Yeah, they're humans, man. I have to believe they were devastated that help wasn't, that they were deserted by the general manager. And I said all week when everyone's like, he's not going to do anything. He's not going to do anything. And I was saying, just wait, give it time. I think he could do something on the deadline day. And leading up to it the whole time, I had said, if he doesn't do it, it is a horrible message to the locker room. And it's essentially a slap in the face to the players on the team. And I believe that's what it was. Yeah, Fitz brings in borderline AHL talent like what we already have. That's not a clear improvement, not just bringing bodies in for the sake of bringing in bodies. Mark, Ace, the players looked just emotionally and physically lost in the third. They know the season is a bust, and that's tragic. Fitz really made this team psyche bottom out today. I 100% agree. I think he completely unplugged the life support today, and that was the final chapter of the season. Brian, maybe Fitzy is just as stunned as any of us coming out of December. This team was looking, and then team was cooking. And then what happened? He was probably thinking about adding some depth pieces, not overhauling his roster. Nah, Brian, there's no excuse. He's the GM, man. He's the DM. There's no excuse. I hit the panic button, and I waited. People were jumping off a cliff much earlier than me. Late January, after that Ottawa and Flyers back-to-back losses at the Rock, I said, this team is toast. Hit the panic button now. Don't wait until it's problematic. And he waited till it was problematic. Cash, Ace, pleasure getting to meet you near the soda fountain in the club. Thank you for the fantastic coverage as always. I'm out. Have a great night. Be safe, and thanks for your great coverage. Yeah, man, nice meeting you. Didn't you have a Jets jersey on, by the way? I'm so confused. I was caught off guard. Once in a while, people approach me at a game, and I'm not used to it, kind of. So I kind of get taken off guard. And I believe this gentleman had a Jets jersey on. So I'm really not expecting someone in public with a different team's jersey to talk to me. And so that kind of threw me off. And I thought he did have a Jets jersey. Maybe I'm wrong. Nicole, you're talking about waste of time driving. We're driving 3 hours there and 3 hours back for this garbage. It's such a waste tonight. Oh, Nicole, you are a glutton for punishment, Nicole. Wow. That is 3 hours each way. Whew. Yeah, that's psychotic. Psychotic. Poor you. Wow. Chico, I don't care if the Devils somehow win the cup. I don't ever want to see Fitz again. I agree. If they somehow went to win the cup, it'd be completely despite him. Time to go. Do interviews with the old players and talk about their thoughts on the current state of the team. I would never. I feel like that would be a waste for the most part, Alex, because most former players don't really follow or watch the current brand of hockey, or especially the Devils, or really any. But I'd rather talk to them about their playing days and shit like that. Personally, how about wins only streams? There'll be very few of those down the stretch. Go Bora, running with the Sopranos. Marcus Stanza, Ace, you got to stay on for the rest of the season. Coming here is good therapy for a lot of us. I'll try, man, but it's hard. Your favorite Sopranos episode? I'd have to really think about it. And honestly, I haven't rewatched the series in pretty much forever. I watched it when it was live and I was young. And so it's a very long time ago, obviously, when it was live. I've seen bits and clips and some episodes again. I've been meaning to kind of binge the whole series now because I've talked about this in the past before, but with a lot of these shows, with so much time in between seasons, you forget stuff. So I do enjoy now when I watch shows in the streaming era with the binge capabilities, you don't forget as much shit. And so you could watch a series faster. So I've been meaning to kind of go through Sopranos and rewatch it like in a much shorter time frame, obviously, than originally. But it might be cliche, but I think I would have to go with Pine Barrens. I mean, I'd have to really think. But Pine Barrens is definitely up there. Chico, I don't think anyone intentionally tanked tonight, but I think they're just deflated after the Stars lost, and then they got nothing at the deadline. I think these guys are as beaten down as we are. I agree. They're humans. They're humans. SST, did you watch Fitz's pregame interview with Rachel and Sal at The Rock, especially last 4 to 5 minutes? That was something. Oh, is this different than the press conference? I was at the game, so I didn't see anything yet. I'm going to watch it all and get all fired up again. Chico, that Stars loss may have been the end of the season right there. At least emotionally, might have been the killing blow. No, it was. Today was our last chance to revive the season, and Fitz pulled the plug. Jack, Ace, which forward would you keep for next year if it was up to you regardless of contract? Oh, boy. Okay. Let's pull up the roster. Probably not many. Probably the top four, the core four. The core four plus Mercer plus Nason plus Cotter, I think. Yeah. Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, Timo Meier is 4. Mercer's 5. Nason 6. Cotter 7. And that's it. That's my list. That's it. Yeah. 7 guys. The core 4 plus Mercer plus Cotter plus Nason, and that's it. 7 guys that would leave us with needing 5. Chico, Ace, I owe you an apology for that one. I said you hit the panic button too quickly, but you were absolutely 100% correct. The time to right the ship was then. Oh, I know, Chico. I know. That was, it was just, to me, you hit the panic button preemptively. It's not like, for me, the point of the panic button is you fix it now before it becomes too problematic. And obviously that happened. And, if I knew that was time to hit the panic button, then you would think an NHL general manager would as well. Ace, it was wonderful meeting at the ice cream station tonight. Thank you for pointing me. What an idiot. Oh, man. Chico, I really thought the Four Nations break would right the ship and they came out looking good, but then just complete deflation. Yeah. Jack, Ace, do a lot of the old players in the days of winning, do they still live in North Jersey for the most part? No, surprisingly, most of them don't live around here. They're all over the place. Cash, yes, I did. I have a Hellebuck jersey on. That's one hell of a goaltender. I collect jerseys from around the league and enjoy other teams. Just know other teams in the East 18 Devils jerseys, fun changing up. Okay, I can respect the Hellebuck jersey. USA. It's a shame he couldn't make that save on McDavid there at the Four Nations championship game. I was at that game, and it was a heartbreaker. What a great game overall, but Hellebuck couldn't come up with that save. But he'll be a huge part of Team USA in the Olympics next year. Love me some Hellebuck. Colby, who will be rooting for if the Devils miss the playoffs? Probably Edmonton. I'm trying to think. Probably Edmonton. Cooking with Ace. That'd be a debacle. Yeah, Pine Barrens is a good one. Pine Barrens is the best. Paulie the Russian was an interior decorator. His apartment looked like shit. Antonino, legit, what's the next step? Honestly, Ace, what do you honestly think? For what? This disaster of a franchise? I have no idea, man. My head's all over the place right now. The Christopher Columbus episode was considered stupid at the time, but ended up being prophetic. Marcus Danza, Ace, Fitz's issue has always been too slow to respond. Look at the Gaudreau situation and look at last year with the goalie situation. Yeah, man. I think I even have the video. The video might even be on the channel when was one of probably my first talking videos. Oh my God. I might cringe looking at it actually because the production was bad. I still don't like watching any videos that I make anyway. For whatever reason, I just don't enjoy watching myself. But one of the first videos I probably was talking in. Oh man, yeah, this is my old setup. This is before I had a lot of equipment. It was about Connor Hellebuck. And the video was on, I always hate this shit. Where's the date? Wow, June 29th, 2023. So this was over a year and a half ago. This was when the Connor Hellebuck rumors first came up. And I'm going to have to watch this video. But I'm pretty sure in the video, I said we should 100% get Connor Hellebuck. Like, you build a team from a net out, and I'm super pumped about Hellebuck. I hope the rumor's true. And that's one of the many whiffs, like going back even to that point. Fitzgerald dropped the ball on that, and a lot of people were like, oh, you can't pay Hellebuck $8.5 million. How much egg is on those people's faces now? $8.5 million for Hellebuck with the cap up the way it is and what other goalies are making. Hellebuck at that contract at the time we could have got him would have been phenomenal. Cash, hey, I rock Devils jerseys all the time. What's wrong with occasionally rocking favorite Western Conference jerseys after such a terrible trade deadline like Edmonton too, one time a year? No, I'm not talking smack. I'm just saying you were in at a Winnipeg game, you were technically in an enemy costume. You're in an enemy soldier costume. So I was like, wait a minute, who is this guy? How does he know who I am? He's a Jets fan. It all makes sense. Man, dire straits. I remember when Chico and A's were going at it during that time. Guy killed 16 Czechoslovakians. We will be fine next year until the annual Nico and Jack injury, of course. Chico, I don't even have any anger left in me for the season anymore. I'm just sad. It feels like this team will never be consistently good again. I agree. Colby, sorry, but Hellebuck is the most overrated player in the NHL. Come on, man. He's about to collect another Vezina. Just stop, Colby. May not be a popular opinion, but whatever, because it's a bad opinion. Mark, your opinion is wrong. Hellebuck is a beast. Go Burrow. Cash, nothing at all. It's fun, and sometimes some jerseys are cool. A crazy cool drip. I'll admit I own a Kachuk Ottawa jersey, but got that in 2021. And I have a Kachuk Calgary jersey, too. Brian, change will only come when the core four is broken up. Leafs reluctantly won't break up Matthews, Willie, Marner, and Tavares, despite numerous first rounds of exits with 100-plus point seasons. Yeah, they seem to be cursed for sure. Brian, however, we stay loyal to the core that can't get to the playoffs. Wow. Cash, so excited to see McDavid and Draisaitl together. I upgraded my seats behind their bench. So rare you have two talents like that work so good together on the same team. Generational talent. Yeah, that's going to be crazy. Rich Smalls, we're fine. You fans are blowing this out of proportion. Very negative, toxic vibes. Yeah, okay. Rich, you're an idiot. I believe you negative fans are contributed to the losings. Yeah. We're the ones that did nothing on deadline day when we desperately needed a boost, you clown. What is this, Fitzgerald on a burner? Please, go Boral. Rich Smalls, well, seeing us in freefall after watching our GM and ownership do fuck all, do you blame us for feeling the way we do? Oh, man, some of these people are clueless. So they're on payroll. Maybe it's Harrison, his helicopter. Chico, Hellebuck, was that a real option? I didn't hear much about it, but my understanding was that he was always going to re-sign with Winnipeg. I believe they were trying to shop him. I can't remember, but it seemed like the money was the hiccup. I'd have to go back and watch the video, actually. It's in my prehistoric setup. It was before I had, like, any real equipment. A couple of the pieces visible are the same, but it was a completely, I'm going to watch it later. But I know 100% when I heard Hellebuck, I was made the video and I was like, we need to get Hellebuck. That's a game changer. Oh, man. I love it when people come in here and just talk smack and then everyone just takes shots at them. Brian, still shocked he re-upped in Winnipeg. All the talk at that time around COVID was wanting to go back to the ES. That's what it seemed like. I think a lot of people balked when they were trying to shop him around, which is crazy. He's a game changer. He's really good. Yeah, the best goalie in the world actually sucks, I guess. Trevor, just look up the Devils' overall worth. The franchise is worth $2.1 billion, up 45% from last year. 11th most valuable franchise. Crazy. Dire Straits, the fans contribute to the losses. The dumb drones at the game don't know their ass from their elbow in the stands. Their only contribution is to Harrison Blitzer's pockets. Blackatron Rich, you're an idiot. Mark, Ace, did you find that Claude Lemieux, Ed Hospodor video where Lemieux fired a puck into the Flyers net after warm-ups? Chico is the Flyers goalie and was chasing Claude all over the ice. I did not see that one. I got to find it. Dino 5, you can win with a mid goalie is what people say who don't like expensive goalies like Hellebuck or Shesterkin. Thirst for War, saw you on TV. Yeah, I got a couple texts about that. Ryan Fisher, what happened on the play where the puck was sitting in front of their net tonight? Did Bratt get hooked, hit, or just slip and fall? I'd have to rewatch the broadcast. We were behind the bench, so it's a little hard to see like exact things. But I think I know what you're talking about, where the puck was just sitting there and no one could bury it. Man, what a night. Bring back John Madden. Roman Checkmonic, you guys are getting too ahead of yourself with hating on the owners. They don't have anything to do with what's going on. Oh, Roman. They certainly do, my man. Dire Straits, John Madden was a great player. He was tough as nails, balls of steel. He'd make these punks in the locker room cry back in the day. He says Fitz is just a bonehead. Thirst for War, he just stood there. Ace, who is your all-time favorite player not named Brodeur, Stevens, Eliash Needs? Oh, that's an obvious one, Brian. Mr. Devil, Kenny Danico. Kenny D. Blackatron says, BS, you should know better with a name like that. Have you paid any attention to the Sixers for the past decade? Mark, here you go, Ace. Long video, but the fireworks start immediately. I don't see the link. For some reason, it doesn't show. I don't see a link. And what I got to put in, let me see. If I put in Claude Lemieux fires puck, or just tell me that, can you just copy and paste the title? Blackatron says Harris Shills on the payroll in the comments. I don't understand how anyone would deny that the owners are part of the problem. I mean, not using the LTIR money, Hospodar, okay. Not using the LTIR money is very obvious. I mean, that's not, I refuse to believe that Fitzgerald is that inept. It's like, in the playbook for GMs, okay, pregame brawl. Yeah, I see it. I'll watch this later. It's like in the playbook, GMing 101. When you have LTIR money, you use it. But that requires the owner's cooperation. You can't just go spend money if the owners aren't giving you the blessing. Joe says, an indirect way of exonerating Fitzgerald by blending it with our owner suck. No, in no way it exonerates Fitzgerald. He's absolutely awful as well. But some of it is just him being terrible at his job. And then some of it is him being terrible at his job in conjunction with having restrictions from above. Not spending LTIR money is 100% an owner initiative. He doesn't have free reign to just go out there and spend the owner's money. We saw it last year when he didn't spend any of the Dougie LTIR money, and we just saw it today when everyone was licking their chops thinking he was going to go on some sort of acquisition spree and use $13 million of LTIR money, and he did not. Blackatron, I'm going to watch the presser. Finally worked up the anger needed. Wish me luck, bros. Let's go Devils. Thirst for War, pretty sure you can't post links unless you're a channel mod. Okay, I looked it up, though, so I have that. Thank you. I'll check that out later, the Lemieux situation. Roman Checkmonic, they don't really have anything to do with each other. A totally different entity. I mean, what do you mean they don't have anything to do with each other? They're owned by the same people. That's not really conspiratorial. Oh, come on, man. Dire Straits, you think Boozeface is going to call out his bosses? Of course he says they let him spend, but actions speak louder than words. Tell him. Mark, did you ever watch Seinfeld? Fitz is George's boss, Mr. Kruger. I've seen a bunch of Seinfelds, but I don't know them all by heart, and I haven't seen every single one like people have. Rich Smalls, why is Fitz awful? How is he supposed to force a trade? Oh boy. Oh boy. Does someone else want to handle this before we go? Rich Smalls is just trolling, I think. I think he's just trolling. He tried to use some more of the money, and I'm not an apologist for Fitz at all. You're 100% an apologist. He used none of the money 2 years in a row. What conclusion would you come to? Thank you, Dire Straits. Tons of teams made trades. Rich Smalls. Mind you, I wish we got Brock Nelson or Marchand, but Fitz can't force these trades. Oh, my God. Yeah, we do have shills in the comments, fellas. We have shills among us. We can't force trades. No, you offer a package to make a deal. No one's saying to force a trade. Go Boro. Frederick went for pennies. We took on a Nepo hire for just facilitating it. We waited forever for a Tendy in 23-24. Got Allen for the pick that Winnipeg fleeced us for Toffoli. Dire Straits. What generation of fan are you out of curiosity? Man. I want to see something else up in here. Missed the old NHL. Dire Straits, if no one wanted Fitz players, that's on him. He drafted like garbage. If I were Fitz and my bosses neutered me and I couldn't do my job, I would resign. He let Zetterlund walk back to Ottawa cheap. Rich Smalls, I'm not a show, but my family has worked in the organization since 86, and I grew up around the franchise and the players since I was a kid. I have a different outlook than fans. Oh, yeah. There you go. So let them have it. Let them have it, folks. Oh, yeah, you're some insider and you know everything, Rich Smalls? Come on, man. You are basically the shill that you were called out as. And in the end, what happened today is disgusting and inexcusable. We gave up on 2 consecutive seasons, and there'll never be atonement for it. Ace, there's confirmation. Glassprong and Chalowski will be with the team for practice tomorrow. Oh, baby, championship. Yeah, so you don't think this is a disgrace for the franchise for the past 10 years? Davin, I don't think Fitz has a spending problem. He has made a few good deals keeping the core 4 cheap. Fitz has a hoarding prospects problem, or at least overvalue them to not trade him. Again, the core that he signed, those were drafted guys that we signed, homegrown, or a couple that were signed after we traded for them. What good deals has he made in season? Tell me. My bloodline drank out of the 1995 Cup. That's awesome, but it still doesn't mean that, Fitz is terrible. Dire Straits, this is a slap in the face of what the owners keep doing to this fan base. Your family worked for 4 different NJD ownership groups. Dire Straits says you should be disgusted by this. Bloodline, we got a vampire with us. My bloodline drank out of the 95 cup. What is this, Game of Thrones? SJ agreed. Fitz doesn't want to pay the price. Don't think it's the owners. No, the owners are definitely a part of it, though. Fitz is terrible at his job, but GMs don't have free reign to go spend the LTIR money. That's all money out of the owner's pockets that it's over the cap. It's not free money. It's money you're allowed to spend over the cap, but it's not free money. It's money out of the owner's pockets, actual dollars. Nobody's able to, GMs don't have free reign to do that unless they get the blessings of their owners, which Tampa Bay and Vegas have done this. They've exploited the LTIR loophole to not be cap compliant come playoffs, and it's paid off for them. This is a winning formula, but the Devils don't employ it, and it's because the owners don't want to pay it. All right, guys, that's it. I'm winding it down. It's over. I'm delirious. I barely slept last night. Watched a bunch of nothing happen all day today, and then went to the game to just, I was insulted all day and night by this team. I feel tortured. It's been a torturous 24 hours. All right, this has gone off the rails, folks. It was me, Donnell. It was me. I was with my boy Rick. All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for coming out. It's been a terrible day and night. Nomar, near the cap and then spending over the cap is very different. So you could defend the owners. Spending to the cap and spending well above the cap is 2 very different things. Yeah, you just don't understand, Nomar. It's fine. The people that get it, get it. I mean, the evidence is there. Fitzgerald made Anaheim retain on the Dumoulin deal. Come on. We didn't spend any of Dougie's LTIR money last year. It's all there. All the evidence is there. All right, dark day, dark night. Devils get destroyed 6-1. Back in action Sunday afternoon against the Flyers. I don't know if I'm going to do a show anymore. Maybe because I'm a glutton for punishment, I will. I don't know. But either way, I think the team is cooked. Even if they somehow back into the playoffs, I think it's going to be a brutal review, a brutal exit for them should they just back into the playoffs. But either way, disastrous day, disastrous night. I'm furious, and, I'll always love the team, but the organization leaves a lot to be desired, and I'm honestly just gutted and disgusted. It's been a travesty, honestly, after, 13 years of mostly terrible product. To have a day and night like we did today is just gutting. But that's it, guys. That's it. Thank you all for coming out. I don't know where we go from here. We'll see. I don't know, but I'm a little disgusted right now. Appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for the good season. If I don't come back for a little bit, but I'll eventually be back with some stuff, with some reviews and stuff. But as far as the games and stuff, I just don't know if I have it in me. I might make one final farewell video outlining the ineptitude of Tom Fitzgerald. Just for the people that don't believe, I might do a deep dive because there's just so much to be fed up with, honestly, during his tenure. And yeah, we'll see. But thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go Devils.